Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Manchester United versus Bournemouth Premier League preview. I've got one word for you, I'm worried, which is actually two, but I'm worried about this game. When you look at Bournemouth's away record compared to our home record, when you look at the league table, we're not even there. We're scroll down FC, where's Wally, where's Man United? We've got to win this game of football. I know the Spurs game was disappointing and the Man City game was elating, but I said it, many of you have said it, I would take the Bournemouth win over the Spurs win. It's disappointing, but that was a game where we were going to rotate. Spurs were going to take it seriously. It's the Carabao Cup. I mean, we've got loads of games in January anyway. I can't remember how many we've got in January. Someone tell me in the chat, but that would have been another two games with the Carabao Cup semi-final, two legs. So screw that for a game of soldiers. But this game's massive. We have to beat Bournemouth. They're a good side, and we've got 22 points, if you're not aware, by the way. So even if we were to win this game, the chances of us going ahead of Bournemouth, well, we probably would go ahead of Bournemouth. So that's sixth place. Bournemouth's goal difference at the moment is +3. Ours is +2. So win, you're definitely going to change that. We won't be in sixth place, but that just shows you the jump you can make. It's an enormous game. It's absolutely enormous. I mean, when you look at it like that, Man United 13th in the league, Bournemouth is 6th. If we win, we go ahead of them on goal difference. And as I said, look, you're not going to leapfrog 7 teams, but some of them will win, some of them will lose. But that is the enormity of this game. And before, I'm going to show you my predicted lineup, by the way. That's coming in very, very quickly. But let me just tell you this. This is why I'm worried. Bournemouth are the quintessential side that gets, I think, underestimated. They are 7th in the league for their away record, which is very good. They've got a very good away record. Our home record is 12th. We've played 4 at home, we've drawn 1, we've lost 3. Away from home, Bournemouth have won 3, drawn 2, lost 3. So I think this game's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to be very energetic. They are very well organised. So I think that the way that we approach the game is we're going to need to be in possession of the ball, and we're going to need to be creative with that. But I think the most important thing is, and it's not a shock from Sunday, from the game against Spurs, we're going to have to defend well. Like Forest was a couple of weeks ago, we defended badly, we lost the game. Spurs, we defended badly, we lost the game. City, we defended well, we won the game. I mean, look, I spoke about this on the morning show yesterday. People are obsessed with agenda. They're always trying to find a problem. Write Garnacho off, write Rashford off. Rasmus isn't good enough. But we're scoring goals. If we weren't conceding goals, we shouldn't even be talking about the attack. The attack has always been a problem area, and Rome wasn't built in a day. But the defence has to be key here. Now, I'm looking at Bournemouth's last few games. This doesn't make for good reading. Last 4 Premier League games, Bournemouth 4, Wolves 2. Bournemouth 1, Spurs 0. Bournemouth 2, Ipswich 1. Bournemouth 1, West Ham 1. They've taken 10 points from 12 in their last 4 Premier League games. They're in form. They're good away from home. They're understated. They're 6th in the league. This is a massive game for Manchester United, and it's right before Christmas, and we have to win. There are no second places here. There are no draws. We've got to start climbing this Premier League table. It's embarrassing being in 13th. I know it's congested, but ultimately, we have to win this game of football. Now, how do I think he'll line up for it? Well, there you go. This is how I think he will line up, dependent on injuries. And I think it's the right team to pick, and it's a team I'm very, very comfortable with. Onana in goal, obviously. Maguire back in the centre. Martinez, I would still pick because you could drop him. I think he's on thin ice. I mean, would you drop Martinez? That's a very good point for the chat. He is on thin ice. There's no two ways about it. We can't dress that up in any way. You could put Maguire left-sided, you could put De Ligt centre, and you could put Mazraoui as the right-sided centre-back. You could play Yoro. You could play Johnny Evans. So Martinez could be on thin ice. I personally would play him because we want to be good on the ball. We want to be possession. It was his pass to Ahmad against Man City. I want to attack more than defend. So I would play Martinez. Maguire looked very comfortable on the centre, and De Ligt's been fantastic. So hopefully he recovers from from illness. Because that then allows you to put Mazraoui on the right and Delo on the left, which I think ultimately I might get this wrong. And I want to know your thoughts on it, because are we getting it wrong here by playing Delo and Mazraoui as the wing back players? Because as we know with Amorim, fundamentally it's not really wing backs. One of them's meant to be a winger. In fact, sometimes two of them are wingers. We're at home to Bournemouth. Do we want to play fullbacks on the wide, or do we want to get a winger out there to be more offensive? And that's where I'm thinking, do you get Ahmad back on that right hand side, and maybe put Mazraoui at left back and rest Delo, which we know is not going to happen. So that might happen. Midfield, legs. We saw it. Eriksen, no legs. Casemiro not getting a look in. Bruno not defensively good enough. Against a team like Bournemouth, and any team in the Premier League, you've got to have legs. I think Mainu gives those legs. Agate does as well. At the moment, it seems that those two aren't getting selected enough. Maybe it's rotation. Maybe it's not Amorim's preferred two, but that is our best two. I mean, you saw Mainu when he came on against Spurs. He gave energy. He gave composure. Agate's been fantastic. To me, it's obviously our best centre two, and it makes us better in the midfield. So I would go with those two in such a massive game where we need to win. That means Bruno will play in behind the striker, and that means Ahmad has to play next to him if we're not going to play Ahmad on the right. I'll come back to that one. And then it's Rasmus up front, because whatever you say about Xerxes or Rashford or anybody else, and the January transfer window obviously could be big in this area, and I certainly think we need more options up front, but I still think Rasmus, in the way that he's been holding the ball up, and Amorim's improved that, I still think if you give him chances in the box, he will score. For me, he is the best option there. The only tweak I might make is I want to be a little bit more attacking. So moving Ahmad to where Mazraoui is in that system, and maybe moving Mazraoui into the back three and dropping Martinez might be an option. Who would you play next to Bruno, though? Well, that's a big question. Would you give Garnacho a start? Would you give Xerxes a start? Would you bring Rashford back in? I mean, that's unlikely, I know. It's probably not a good idea. I do worry about that as well. I do worry about that. What reception does Rashford get at Old Trafford on Sunday if Amorim brings him back in? And I want you to answer that. Would you drop Martinez? Would you put Rashford in the matchday squad? Get your comments in. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about Rashford, as I said this morning, but I have concerns. You know, the away fans yesterday, we saw that banner saying Tara. He's effectively put a transfer request in. You can't spin that any other way, even though he might try. You've basically said you want to go. You got Henry Winter up without United's knowledge. If he's there on Sunday, how do the crowd react? If he starts, if he comes on, I don't know. I don't know with that one, and that might be a factor. But we'll have to wait and see. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that would be my team. I think that will be the team. The only tweak I would say, Mazraoui into the back three, Ahmad to the right, and maybe start Garnacho or Xerxes, just to give us a little bit more attacking impetus. But I think it's going to be tough. I do. I think it will be a tough game. I mean, I'd love to sweep them under the carpet and win it, 3 or 4-0. But I think that Bournemouth are always in it. They're very quick. They've beaten us before. They're confident. They're a well-organised team. There's nothing about Old Trafford that's going to make them come here and play with any fear. They're going to come and have a go. I can see it being tight. I mean, look, I would take a 1-0 win for Man United. I feel it might end up being a draw, but I'm going to go 2-1 Man United. But I think it's difficult. And it would be so nice to end this period before Christmas with a win and get ourselves into the top half of the table. I know there's still a couple of games to go before the end of the year. We've got Wolves on Boxing Day, and then we've got Newcastle on the 30th. 3 big games for us, really. I mean, if we could take 9 points from those games, then it would put us right in amongst it. And as I say, I think you've got to look at how the league table looks, and you've got to look at how Man United's form's looking at the moment, and think, well, look, if you could take 9 points from the next 3 games, you're definitely going to pin yourself very, very close to top 6. But I don't know whether we're good enough to do that. I really don't know if we're good enough to do that. It's the $1 million question. Just on January, though, look, Liverpool, we play them on the 5th of January. Then we've got Arsenal in the Cup. Then we've got Southampton in the league. Then we've got Brighton in the league. Then we've got Rangers in the Europa League. Then we've got Fulham in the league. And then we've got another Europa League game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games we've got in January. If we'd have added Carabao Cup games in there, Surely that's 8 or 9. So I don't... 7 games in a month is a lot. I don't think we're missing playing those Carabao Cup games at all. I really, really don't. So yeah, I'm not uncomfortable with that. I suppose the question would be, do you have any concerns about, what the ramifications could be if we don't win this game? If we don't win it, we're going to stay in the bottom half of the table. If we don't win it, then there's going to be a reaction. And if we don't win it and Rashford's not involved, then there needs to be a new scapegoat, doesn't there? And it can't be the manager. I think this is a really important thing to say. I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was. Somebody was basically saying, was it a mistake? Oh, it was a journalist. A journalist asked Amorim if it was a mistake leaving Rashford out against Spurs. And I tweeted it, and I basically said, unless Rashford can play goalkeeper or centre-back, he's having no impact in that game at all. And as much as I don't want to talk about that, my point is, I think we're a better team without Rashford, but we're probably a better team without some of the players that will play on Sunday as well. And I think that's the most important thing. Rashford is not the solution or the problem, but he's not the problem either. He may be a problem. Many people would agree with that, but he's not the solution and he's not the only problem. And if we do drop points against Bournemouth at home, there will be, a post-mortem on why Manchester United are dropping points in games of that magnitude where we need to win, and having beaten against Man City and the inconsistency. But the inconsistency is not going to go away overnight. Ruben Amorim's a new coach. He's got new coaches around him. He's got new philosophies. We clearly hear and see new ideas. But he's working with players that we already know. So if we were to drop points against Bournemouth, it would be frustrating. But you're asking Amorim to walk into a kitchen as a Michelin star chef and work with the ingredients that are already there. You have to give him the ingredients if you want him to serve up the dishes you like. And he is still working with ingredients that are not his. And I do just say that as a warning, that I think the longer Amorim's here, the more people start to think, well, why is he not getting a tune out of this? I've seen it in the media. It's idiocy on a Pratt level, because he's still working with ingredients that are not his. If we lose or draw or drop points to Bournemouth or any other team over the next few weeks, I'm always thinking that everything he does at the moment that's progressive is fantastic, because he's doing it with a setup that's not his. Right in the middle of a season, like Man City, it was very good. Like keeping the ball against Spurs and Arsenal for a long period of time, it's very, very good. But I think what really matters is that we probably are going to get more losses. Bournemouth are a good side. If we did drop points there, people would not be very happy, but I would still be saying the problems are there. The problems are still there. The inconsistencies and the mentalities are still there. We saw it in the second half against Spurs. Like, we've had a team talk. We've been very good in the first half, and we switch off and concede 2 goals. So those problems are still there. And who else is going to be on the chopping line as Amorim makes changes? It's certainly not just Marcus Rashford, is what I'm trying to say. There are other players that are going to need to go, and we need to be patient, and we need to accept that there will be more points dropped along the way. Certainly. But look, I'm generally quite happy. Going into this game, I'm genuinely quite happy. I think that we are progressing. We are taking small steps. And I liked what Amorim said about winning a cup, like a Carabao Cup. We can't think that that's the way back. I think Amorim's very much in tune with what you are and what I am. He's very aware of the quick win, papering over the cracks, and then causing him problems down the line. I think with Mourinho, I think with Ten Hag, they had very good first years, and it papered the long-term job. I mean, Mourinho's job was always going to take 3 years. Ten Hag's job was always going to take 3 years. Amorim's job's going to take 3 years. But the problem is, because they had a really good year 1, people started talking about titles in year 2. But it was always a 3-year job. So then when it starts going wrong in year 2, people are like, he's not the guy. I think Amorim's aware of that. And that's why he was saying about the Carabao Cup and the trophy. We can't let that mask things. We want to win the Premier League, but we don't know how long it's going to take. I think he's fully aware that some of these dips are actually a positive in his likelihood of being successful, because it's reality bite. Whereas in the past, we have them short-term gain, long-term pain. We want short-term pain, long-term gain, and I think we're going to get that. And also, look, he's not been here a month and we're talking about selling Marcus Rashford. So these types of things are disruptive. Losing games, dropping points is disruptive. But when you're at the bottom of the barrel and it's, you know, it's slippy, you're not always going to climb up and not fall down again. You know, we're going to keep falling, but we've got to learn from them falls. And I think things are going well. I really do. That's my thoughts. Get your comments in then. Would you put Rashford in the squad at all on Sunday, considering it's an Old Trafford crowd? That could go bad, or maybe it'd go well. What are your thoughts? Would you drop Martinez? That's important. And also, do you think we need Ahmad on the wing? Are we a little bit too defensive with Mazraoui and Dalot? I know they can get forward, but they don't get forward in the way Ahmad does. And that would mean, who would you play next to Bruno? So lots for you to get your thoughts in there. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe, of course. We're on the road to 2 million. I'll speak to you on the next one. Enjoy your evening, day, whatever you're doing. And we'll be back on the morning show with you live tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Take care.